Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of Horror Corner. Hello, everybody. My name is JPOOL, and welcome back. And tonight, I'm joined once again by my co-host, LC.
How's it going?
Fine, fine. I see you have on your background a little bit One Wish Willow. That's
You know, um, uh, it's ripe for the taking for anybody who is looking for love in all the wrong places, or maybe $1 billion. I would take the second.
Yeah, $1 billion. Let me take this monkey paw and try to see if I could get anything good out of it.
I would definitely go, especially now that I'm educated after watching this movie of all of the terrible things that could happen. I'm gonna stick with something that's just a little bit more self-serving and go for the cash.
Exactly. So if you hadn't figured it out, we are talking about the 2025 and more likely the 2026 um, film Obsession. And if you're not already obsessed with this film, or at least obsessed with hearing all about it, then you definitely need to go out and see it in theaters, because they actually pushed the digital release for this film to stay in the theaters a little longer because it's making them money. Um,
Yeah, I went to a late showing. It's been out for a couple of weeks, and the theater was still packed. So it's still getting a tremendous audience, and I think it's fair to say there's probably a lot of people who haven't seen this yet. So spoiler, 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 spoiler. Save this and come back later if you haven't seen it yet, because this is it's that good to watch it and take it all in.
oh yeah, definitely. This movie is actually really interesting because the director for this film and also the writer, Curry Barker, he's the 26-year-old YouTuber. kind of
It's
like
amazing.
kind of like the 20-year-old YouTuber who recently directed another horror flick that came out like a week later called Backrooms. Um,
Mm.
this
Heard of
film,
it?
yeah, heard of it? We were just talking about it,
Backrooms, heard
right?
of
Right
it?
before the cast, we were talking a little bit about Backrooms. But this one is unlike Backrooms, which was around $10 million to produce and the
Mhm.
budget. This one was a little under $1 million, about seven hundred
Yeah,
and $50,000. That's not a lot in
yeah.
Hollywood terms. That's
No,
basically chump change. That's like
yeah.
I'm gonna pay for my lighting and camera work and maybe a little bit of
Mhm.
cinematography. Um,
Well,
yeah,
and such a, all jokes aside, Backrooms, if you I don't know, I should be careful because I guess there's probably a lot of people that, haven't bopped around on the internet reading creepypastas, but a lot of the horror community is very well aware of Backrooms and the lore behind it. This one, I feel like, was such an incredible sleeper. It just, came out of nowhere. I didn't see previews for it. I hadn't heard about it until a family member had actually gone to see it opening weekend. And then you told me you had gone to see it opening weekend as well. No ads, no trailers, everywhere, and I live in this stuff. To not see one single promotion for it, and then for it to have the amazing reaction that it's having, touche.
touche indeed. Now, this film premiered at TIFF, Toronto Film Festival, and uh, a bunch of studios right after it ended. A bunch of studios were vying for this film. It was insane for such a small, quote unquote, small film with basically nobodies in the business. I think the only person really in here was the main actress. Was Inde Navarrette, because she had previously played in a series called Superman and Lois, and for like I think the last season they cut her because of budget reasons. But oh, go on.
Now wait just a minute. There is one extremely important cameo in this movie, which is the man, the myth, the legend, who is probably really the only, cross genre, cross generations known actor, question mark. Andy Richter is in the movie from, Conan O'Brien fame, the year 2000, everybody's favorite co-host. Well, aside from me. But you're absolutely right. Aside from that's your biggest name in the film, Andy Richter. Sorry, Andy. And
Oh,
then Indy, who, yeah, 13 Reasons Why, probably maybe another well-known role, but everybody else is brand new on the scene.
yeah. What was it Michael Johnston? You got Cooper Tomlinson, Megan Lawless. Yeah, surprisingly, Andy Richter is right on the bottom
Andy
credits.
Richter.
He's on the bottom credits,
Poor
but
Andy.
yeah, poor Andy. But no, yeah,
Yes.
basically almost everybody in here is either small time or like completely unknown, and that was a huge
Mhm.
risk because a bunch of actresses actually were vying for this part, and I guess Curry Parker saw something in Indy, not just being not really well known, but I think it's just her audition really made him go, yeah, that's the person I wanted him to play the character. Now, the interesting story behind actually some of the story that he wrote here was he was watching an episode of The Simpsons, and
Treehouse of Horror, baby.
yes, actually, because he was already had this idea of sort of like a toxic relationship, like an obsessive boyfriend, obsessive girlfriend type of situation. But he didn't have the story completely down. And one of the episodes of The Simpsons was the monkey paw episode, where the Simpsons get a hold of a monkey paw and start making wishes, and every time the monkey paw would all of a sudden one of the fingers would go down and everything, showing that you made the wish. And you know how if you've ever understood what the monkey paw does, it's basically you make a wish, but it costs you something, and it doesn't
Mhm.
all. It's not always like I won $1 billion, but something bad is going to happen. Somebody's going to die
Right.
or something else. There's always a cost to these wishes, um, and that's technically how this movie begins. It's more of a where all the plot line leads to is the poster says be careful what you wish for, and
Mhm. Mhm.
it is true. It's like and I think a lot of the wishes, in a sense, in a lot of these type of storylines or stories in general, are all based on selfishness.
Mhm.
Nothing like
Yeah.
I want peace in the world, or I want,
No.
I want, I want good things to happen to people all the time, not me, but to other people. But it's always me,
Mhm.
me, 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 and I think
That's
that
the lesson.
that's a lesson. It's like the seven deadly sins
Mhm.
type of situation. It's like are constantly selfish, and we
Mhm.
always think about ourselves instead of really thinking about other people, and that's where our wishes go wrong. Like at the end of
Mhm.
Wishmaster, the wish
Mm.
the main character makes, she wishes an unselfish wish, which in turn changes everything and kind of reverses
Mhm.
everything, you know, um, in that movie that it took place. So it's kind of like an unselfish act, um,
Mhm.
can change everything for the good. But
I
yeah.
yeah. I feel like in life, every well, I'm about to out myself for being psycho. I feel like in life, everybody at some point wishes for something. And it's funny because the two wishes that we actually get in this movie, well, three, um, but they're based around two things that I feel like every single person that comes of age at some point wishes for. And whether it's, like the dandelion seeds into the wind or the shooting star or the rainbow, whatever your Monkey Paw is I feel like at some point everybody has wished that someone that they have a crush on just pays a little bit more attention to them, or for $1 billion, maybe $1 million, depending on what decade you grew up in. But these things, it's one of the things that I love about this movie. Aside from this sort of supernatural theme that runs through, it's very typical human behavior. This is not anything that you couldn't see happening, and the wish itself, behind my head here, this is it's gimmicky.
Yeah.
It's that dandelion.
It looks
It's
like a
the,
kid's thing. It
it's
looks like a kid thing. You go to the store and you go
it looks
like,
yeah,
oh, it's like the Ouija board in the the gaming section, and we're like, it's all innocent until you summon a demon.
exactly. It's all fun and games till you summon a demon. Um, so innocently, I mean, this dare I say this feels like it could happen, but it everything aside from the supernatural side of it is 100% something that you could see happening. So I don't know, it's such a perfect recipe. Touche Curry Barker for, putting this down on paper and getting it to us on the big screen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's such a simple premise, and yet it goes so deep. Especially considering that we have this like idea of who the bad guy is. Like, from the trailers and everything, we're going like, okay, we know exactly who the villain is. And by the middle of the movie, you're like, I'm not sure if I really know who the bad guy is because the bad guy is somebody that I thought was the victim.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the clueless victim, and then like because we're gonna get into it. We have a character named Baron Bailey. He goes by the name Bear. That's a
Mhm.
cute little like pet name. They have like name your friend because it's sort of an alliteration type of thing. Like like Peter Parker or something like that.
Mhm. Right.
But yeah, his name is Bear, and he has been friends with this girl named Nikki Freeman, played by Inde Navarrette, and they've been friends since they were kids. He's known them.
Mhm.
He's known her forever,
Mhm.
and he's kind of had this crush on her for a very long time. But he is the type of guy who doesn't. I would say he doesn't have a spine.
He fears rejection
He fears rejection.
100%.
He fears rejection, but like you'll see what I'm saying because like for people who haven't seen the movie, they're like, "What do you mean he doesn't have a spine?" I'm saying that he
Mhm.
has situations where he can do something and he do it for the right reason, and he doesn't do
Mhm.
it. And it is not just fear of
Right.
rejection. We find out later some other stuff with him that you're
Yeah.
wondering like, why didn't you do this? And it's like, he could say because he was afraid to, and in the end, it's
Right.
like, no, he's just, you know, some people,
Yeah.
get nervous around people. It's like, I think for him, especially with Nikki, he has, had this like crush on her for so long, but and he's probably talked to himself in the mirror over and over again, going like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell her today. I'm gonna tell her today. Um,
Mm.
and because he has this obsession
Right.
over his best friend. He doesn't see anything else around him. He doesn't, environmental awareness type of situation because there's somebody else
Mhm.
kind of crushing on him as well that he has no idea that's actually happening. If he opened his eyes, he would realize actually somebody else likes him too, and it's not Nikki. Um,
Right. Yeah, he's built her up, and I feel like that's another, common human trait that we've at least seen with a friend or an associate where, people are so fixated on someone that they really do. They become closed-minded to maybe better things that are around them, and the movie opens with him, talking to his other friend and just building her up. Like there's this whole conversation, and yeah, it's funny because the way that he's talking, he's a good-looking guy, this kid. He's, obviously a little bit of, more of an introvert. He works at a movie store, Andy Richter's movie store, or excuse me, music store. But he's, you can tell that he's not super outgoing, or yeah, he's, not really grabbing life. But he is absolutely infatuated. And it's funny because opening the movie up that way, aside from knowing who's in the movie and getting some background on it, you're expecting this girl to just be, I don't know, like a larger than life kind of character. And when you meet her, she's kind of very sweet, simple, bohemian kind of girl. She's not intimidating in the way that you think that she might be by his buildup. She's not, she's a very beautiful girl, but she's not that wildly intimidating, aggressive girl that we've all met.
or
So
vapid or
you're,
anything else like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she's approachable, and she's kind. We talk about doing things selflessly for others, and there's a moment at the beginning of the movie when she is herself, and she borrows money from someone to give it to a houseless person. She picks up the tab at the bar when they're all hanging out. So she's she's a good human. She's kind. She's an inspiring writer. She's definitely not someone that you feel like would, be turn him down in such a way if he did vocalize how he was feeling about her. Yeah. So you're exactly right. It's setting this up in, a very cool way, but as you move through the movie, you really do reflect on, who the villain is of the flick.
Yeah. And he even takes her home, and he has a point where he could actually he's kind of building himself up to try to to tell her, and even calls her back to the car and just tries to go like, I have something to tell you, and then he just freezes and then just gives up
Yeah.
on it, and it's sort of like she can kind of tell he's trying to ask her something important. um and I've heard a bunch of other reviewers talk about this, about like whether she would have like rejected him in the first place, but being the person that she is, she was like, you know what? Even if she was like, I don't, I see you more like a brother, but we can still remain friends. I don't think she would be like that type of person to be like, like our friendship is over because now you want to
No.
go be in romantic feelings with me. I can't see you the same way. I think she's the type of person that would still be friends with him,
Yeah.
but he has this vision that of you know the perfect relationship with her,
Mhm.
and but he's just not willing to step up, and when he gets that
Right.
chance, he's not willing to ask the right questions. And before this, he goes and goes to a shop to get her like a crystal, because
Mhm.
and he ends up, um, hold on a second, I have a doorbell going off in the background. I
We'll
cannot.
take caller
I
number 1.
Yes,
How do you feel about, the movie Obsession?
yes. I can't delete that part, but I have like a little I like ding, 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 so um
Leave it.
only that. But yeah, so we got he's at the shop, and he looking for Crystal and to give her, and he sees this little display, and it's what you're showing in the back, all these little like novelty items, these one wish willows, these little like
Mm.
triangular boxes that have a little branch on the inside. What's with these movies and branches? I don't know.
I
Like
I was just
weapons
thinking that same thing. Yeah. I was
weapons and
mm,
everything. It's like these things are getting creepy now. We keep getting more and more.
mm,
Um, and basically, what you do is you make a wish and you break the one wish willow, either probably like out of the box or in the box. It doesn't matter. And you snap it, and your wish will come true. I like the box. It's like
mhm.
amaze your friends, but it doesn't give you like instructions on exactly how. But I do like it has a number on the back. So like it's basically
Yeah.
a call center number, like for like
Mm.
if anything's wrong, contact us type of number. Like something's wrong with your wish, call us now.
Uh, I like the detail that they put into this in making it the packaging older, because it allows for a little bit of a kind of a backstory when he's talking to this store clerk about, did these things really work? Oh, I haven't seen, I've heard about these things. And I don't know if you recall, do you remember Poppets? The firework that
Yes.
you just little yeah.
Yep.
It reminds me of the old school Poppets boxes that those used to come in, the same kind of packaging, a little bit, I don't know, 1950s, 60s, maybe, candy, but I like that it has a little bit of a, you know, "Oh, I've heard about those. I've never actually seen them," but, it just makes it feel very innocent and innocuous and, something that,
Nostalgic,
um
very nostalgic.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
remember
why
get
not pick it
like
up?
in 1970s they came up with these things called pet rocks, and they were just a rock,
Mm.
a smoothed out river
Yeah,
rock placed in a
mhm.
little cardboard box that you get for a kid's birthday or Christmas or something like that. Just think about it. You wake up on Christmas Day and you go into under your Christmas tree like, what is this? You unwrap it, and you're like, you're Charlie Brown. I got a rock.
Mhm. Oh
And
my
it's
gosh.
like you got a
I'm
pet.
kidding.
It was called a pet rock. It was basically
Mm,
they just got river rocks and put them in boxes and they sold them. And for some reason they were popular
yeah.
for they had their 15 minutes of fame, but people still remember them. The pet rocks were a thing
Oh,
back in the
yeah.
day. Not this generation. They would be like a pet rock. I just go outside and grab a rock right now. That's as easy as it gets.
Rock through the window.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is very like Necco's, Slinky. It's got that vibe to it, which so many little pieces in this movie add to the character of it. Just the general. Very well done, I have
yeah.
to say, and enough to kind of keep you guessing, but enough to really move the storyline along very quickly. You're just kind of taking it all in from start to finish.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if I remember correctly, Bear lives in his grandma's house. Is that correct? Yes.
He does, she
Yeah,
passed away.
and
Yeah, it
has
was her oxy.
her oxycodone like is the thing that killed the cat. Well, curiosity killed the cat, but so did oxycodone.
Yeah. That's the current, saying for it's a revamp. Oxycodone killed the cat.
Poor cat, because cat comes up later in the movie.
I definitely went and saw this movie with a big cat fanatic, and I definitely got
Oh,
a stink eye very early in the film of, "You didn't tell me the cat was gonna die." I didn't know.
you
They
didn't
don't
know.
have a website for that.
You did. You
It's
did.
"Does the dog die?"
I could have told you that, but I didn't realize you're taking somebody that loves cats.
Yeah. Oh, that cat, that cat comes back too.
Yes, in ways
Sandy.
that are kind of disturbing and gross.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, so Nikki basically, is waiting for him to say, say it, just tell me, and he just completely denies it. And then
Mhm.
she leaves and about to walk in the house. He's so frustrated with himself, as she goes into the house that he bought the one wish willow, and then he innocently and quote unquote selfishly,
Mhm.
thinking that this is not going to work. But you know what are the odds? And he makes the wish to love him more than any other person in the world. and then he
Yeah.
breaks the one wish willow, and then you just see her show up at the
Yeah.
door again, and it's just this like reversal, like so it's happened so quickly. It's not like it
It's
doesn't take like a day.
the
It's not.
snap.
Yeah, it's not like what was it? Freaky Friday, where it took like a night
Mhm.
and they woke up
You
in
have
each
to
other's
wake up.
bodies. Yes. It happens immediately, and it
Well, it
is
happens
disturbing.
immediately, but I do love that the it happens immediately in that she comes back around to the car and she's talking to him, but the way that she's talking to him is almost exactly what you would expect from someone who is at the beginning of their obsession trail.
Yeah,
Um, it's very kind of silly, and it happens in such a way that it's quick and it tells the start of the story, but you don't even know it yet. You have no idea what you're in for in this movie at this moment. You know that something's changed or you're anticipating, but it seems fairly okay as it does. What have we learned? Close the Ouija portal, close the portal, and think through the wish. Anyone else in the world? That there's a lot of opportunity there. You just got to always picture the wish master sitting there trying to figure out how to screw up your wish. Oh, and boy, does this one go badly.
well, even the genie in Aladdin, one of his rules is he can't make people fall in love with each other. That's
Yeah.
one of his. He can't bring people back from the dead. Well, actually, he can, but he said it doesn't end out well. It doesn't turn out well. So he kind of like basically says, "Don't do that. Don't even ask for that." And then he also says, "I can't make anybody love each other. I can't make somebody fall in love with you and force them against their will." Which I kind of find interesting. Now that I go back to watch Aladdin, I'm like that. I wonder if Genie actually had to do that in the past, and things just went really bad, and so he has makes it a
Mhm.
rule that anybody asks now, he's like, "Nope, no, I'm just going to tell him completely deny that you can do that," and like because it's not going to turn out well for you, and you're going to look at me like it's my fault.
Good question. Is it the sort of genie, the bottle, the box, the branch? Is it the rule of the wish? I mean, kind like is that just the rule, the law of making wishes that if you wish for something selfishly, then just be prepared it's going to go wrong. Because you're right. In Aladdin, that genie, he was pulling for everybody. He wasn't, being a terrible person.
Yeah.
Wishmaster, well, different story altogether. But maybe it's not the Wishmaster. Maybe it's not his. It's just kind of the rule of the game, and he's just am I going to a don't hate the player, hate the game analogy here? I guess I just did.
Basically, I mean,
Sorry.
it's like how morality works, I guess, even in the sense for the
Mhm.
genies. And here we actually get a really interesting thing happening, especially with Nikki. Nikki starts to act really strangely. Of course, she starts acting like sort of the obsessive girlfriend. If you ever seen that kind of meme of that girl like doing this, like
Mhm.
on there. Um, and she asks Bear, to sleep at Bear's house, and then confides in him about her estranged father, who was apparently dying of cancer. Um, and then, you know, uh, basically, she, goes to bed with him, and she kisses him, but then abruptly screams and pulls back. And then we start to realize something really is wrong with her. Like, this is not
Mhm.
just a love potion. Like, have you ever seen the movie with Sandra Bullock called Love Potion Number Nine? Where
Mhm. Classic.
yeah, where they take it, and then everybody around them of the opposite sex starts to fall in love with them, not obsessively, but sort of like in a daze, in a haze. They just can't
Yeah,
get enough of them.
attraction.
A very attraction. It almost seems natural, but it's not really natural. It's magic science. It's
Mhm. Magic science.
magic science. It's
My
not
favorite kind.
it's science that we don't understand, so we consider it magic, kind of.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we get this weird situation where like Nikki is not herself, and we find out that it really isn't herself.
Yeah.
Um, we find out that it is an entity that has
She's
like
trapped.
that's invading her, and I'm going to jump a little bit ahead because this entity is
Mhm.
actually it has to abide by the wish. So
Mhm.
some people can look at it and going like, well, that entity is evil, but that entity is trying to abide by the wish and trying to
Right.
do what the wish asks for it. If it can't do it, it suffers. And it's kind of interesting too because we look at it in the sense of yes, well, poor Nikki. Nikki, we find out Nikki is actually still kind of trapped somewhere, sort of in a
Mhm.
weird. I would consider a sort of like a shadow realm, a demonic dimension, maybe.
Purgatory, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yes.
The
Because
in between, the upside down.
upside down, and you have this other entity taking over her body. But you
Mhm.
get these situations of like these weird lucid scenes where like the Nikki entity is asleep, and then all of a sudden she starts talking, and basically it's like the real Nikki is coming out, going like, "This isn't me. This is not me.
Mhm.
Like like stop me, kill me. I don't want to I'm not I this is I'm not doing this." And it's kind of really interesting
Mhm.
how the director kind of allowed this to happen instead of just being, Freaky Nikki the whole time, which was her nickname
Yeah.
in here.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I thought that was a really compelling part, the sort of, like, call out, for help. It gave you I think, I wonder because it's my understanding that this movie was supposed to have a different ending,
oh yeah,
and I wonder if
we'll get
I
into
wonder if
that.
this piece, that little, like, outcry, was added in, after they decided to make that change and keep the movie, as the sort of waking nightmare version because it it gives you a little bit of a glimpse of, okay, you know, she's not all bad. And to your point, at the beginning, who is the bad one here
Yeah,
now?
who's the bad one? It's
Mhm.
man. Man is evil.
Wah,
So,
ah, ah, ah.
so the next morning, Nikki creates a memorial with Sandy's remains. Really
Mhm.
disturbing.
The dead cat.
Yeah, the poor cat. Yeah, and it really disturbs and unnerves Bear. Bear doesn't know how to really take it. And she has such erratic behavior. Um,
Yeah, she's glitching.
yes,
She
like
there's there's a scene, I know there's a scene where she walks backwards, and that is the most unnerving thing. It is she we when you were telling me that I had to go see this movie originally, we were comparing opening night notes between Backrooms and Obsession, and you were talking about Indy, the actor's portrayal of this character. You totally called it. She does such an incredible job of being uncanny valley, creepy, surreal, moving in very kind of jolting ways. It's an absolute incredible performance and one of the scarier things I've seen in a long time.
oh yeah, definitely. And I don't think it's like really a lot of people when they consider something like horror, scary, and everything, they're like jump scares or
Mm.
like
There's that.
copious amount. Well, there's a few, but like there's or
Uh-huh.
copious amounts of blood, out of somebody. But in here, they really, I think the more horror part of it is just um, it just unnerves you. Like there's scenes in here
Mhm.
that you be like, I can relate to this maybe a little too much because I might have been in a
Mhm.
situation like that with somebody before, and this just takes me back to those days, and I don't want to think about that because I
Mhm.
there's a reason I
Mhm.
broke up with that person or something like that. There's
Mhm.
literally a scene there where they're having they're on a date, and um he's asking her, are you lying about your dad dying? And if
Uh-huh.
anybody's seen the scene, because they released this scene in full, like online, and they used that for promotion whenever she went on talk shows and everything, and she's like, no, 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 and then she's just like, and then she's smiling the whole time, and he's like, and she
Mhm.
stands up, and he's like, I thought we were having a nice date, and for being somebody that's like sitting nearby, like, or like behind them in the seats at one of these restaurants, you could see them just like looking up from their table and trying not to like be
What?
obvious, and they're just like, what is going on here? And
Mhm.
you feel embarrassment for the people in the restaurant, for for Bear as well, because he's like, calm down, please, just sit down, and it's that's unnerving. It's like there's nothing, like she doesn't turn into a monster or anything else like that,
Mhm.
and it just makes a lot of people cringe. People in the theater were
Yeah.
like just going ugh, because it just harkened back to like a
Mhm.
bad relationship or something like that.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Performative crazy is not a good look. Ladies and gentlemen, don't do it. It's
don't do it.
never good. Raising your voice to it's like a double down of, oh yeah? I'm going to bring everyone else into this. It's not the move to make. Don't do it. Yeah, she kind of looms in background shots and has incredible facial expressions. She becomes very, very creepy, very quickly. And it is there, I will say for the jump scares that they do have, there are a few. They're not, plentiful by any means, but a handful, a couple maybe even. Um, I was talking to the person I went and saw this movie afterward about those jump scares because I did jump and I love it when that happens. It's so few and far between. The reason that these jump scares are so good is not only does it catch you by surprise as they do, but it's usually something so visceral that it exposes you to immediately after the shock that it leaves you you get that jolt of surprise, and then you have to accept what you're seeing at the same time, and it kind of gives you jump scare plus shudder, instantly, and it was so interesting watching the theater have similar reactions, and, I fortunately wasn't in a movie theater where everyone was talking through or that kind of stuff drives me crazy, but you could tell that there was, a community of feeling going on as everyone was watching this and experiencing, like you said, um, the excuse me, the restaurant scene where she starts elevating her voice. There was kind of this like nervous laughter that
Yeah.
happened in the theater. It was definitely a shared experience, and I think much of it was just the way that, her portrayal, it brings you in and then completely unravels you. Um, and that starts picking up in full scale from that restaurant scene on. They're kind of lovey-dovey before that. It's kind of working out the way he wanted it to, aside from the dead cat memorial.
Oh yeah.
Um,
But the thing is, like, his one of his best friends, Ian, who also works with him at the music store, um, he gets really suspicious, and he sits down with him and he goes like, something's really wrong with Nikki, and I think
mhm.
she really sees you more as like a little brother in a sense, and I I think you're kind of, something's wrong with her. I think you're taking advantage of this. and of
Mhm.
her, and trying to look out for her. We find out later that apparently Ian had a thing with Nikki, not like a serious thing, but more of like
Mhm.
somebody to be there and comfort her, in
Mhm.
but not like a serious relationship. Uh,
Mhm.
we find that out later, but
Yeah.
yeah, Ian's like kind of looking out for Nikki's like, I know you've had a thing for her, and but you really haven't expressed anything towards her, or said anything to her for a very long time, and all these people know each other. Like Ian, Sarah, Nikki, Bear, they're all
Mhm.
like, they all work at the same place. They see each other practically every single day. Um, and so of course it gets weird when Nikki all of a sudden becomes sort of like obsessed with Bear out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Um, and what was it? The game night one. Oh my goodness.
Oh
When they
god.
go to game night. Oh, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're amongst your friends and you have that one friend or one or two friends like, and I'm old. I'm like in my early 40s. But I've been around and
Hey,
I've
hey,
gotten to.
hey.
You're young. You're like what? You're in your like early 30s. So
Sure, 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 sure,
yeah,
sure,
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
sure.
Um, but yeah, and you've had that one person that just like you're sitting there going, I think you've had a little too much to drink. Or I think you've
Mhm.
been, like you want to escort them out because they're making everybody uncomfortable because they are
Mhm.
like, they're falling over themselves. They're saying things that, that they wouldn't say if they were sober or anything else like that. And everybody just staring at like, why did you invite them with you? You're like, bring them with you if you knew that was going to happen.
Right. Yeah, she doubles down on that night too. It goes from bad to worse to terrible.
Yeah, and the laugh, that forced laughter, like she
Mhm.
is trying to please Bear, even though she's being forced to do it. Like it's in a
Mhm.
sense of like a force, like I don't really love you, but your wish is forcing me to do things that I would not do. And I'm not talking about Nikki,
Mhm.
I'm talking about the entity. Nikki is in the back. Like
Yeah.
Nikki can see everything that's going on. It's kind of like being stuck in your own body. Kind of like
Mhm.
I would say like sleepwalking. Sometimes like I used to sleepwalk when I was really young, and I could remember when I was sleepwalking. I felt like I was stuck in my own body. I could see everything that was happening. I I couldn't control my body. I would walk around the house and whatever. And luckily, I never walked outside. That was a good thing. I stopped out, you know, years after that. But it's still, I could remember everything that was happening when I was sleepwalking. Very few people can do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
you talk to a lot of people that sleepwalk, and they'll be like, "What? Why am I in the like?" My sister used to sleepwalk. She would like.
Mhm.
One time, my mom found her like behind the door. She was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm trying to catch this bird." There's no bird there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Different
and
reality.
but when she woke up, she really couldn't remember what was going on. For me, I could remember
Mhm.
everything, which is really weird. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, for like Nikki see and experience everything that was happening with what her body was doing, but she couldn't do anything. And so for her, being at that game night must have been like hell for her.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, the poem that she reads,
That
it's all bad.
what was it? That was it. Hansel and Gretel turned into like
Yes.
incestual type
W
of thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it was awful. It was aw like, it's a bad night. She is the word is cringe, for a good portion of this film. The things that she does, you're just like, "Oh, no." You feel so bad for her doing some of these, just absolute ludicrous moments. Can we talk about the duct tape?
you can.
There's this one moment where he's trying to go to work and he's like, "Hey, can you just be cool? Just be cool and don't not be cool." And everything, sure, sure, I will. And he goes to leave, and you get this pan out, and the entire door is covered in duct tape. Like, the entire thing is duct and he casually tries to open it as if it's not, as if it maybe it's just stuck a little bit to so as to not make her lose it. Um, she is just absolutely unraveling at this point, and it's just a lot of, very unsettling moments, and then it gets worse.
Oh yeah, it gets really worse, and we also get the that situation at the party where it was like kind of like spin the bottle type of situation.
Mm,
Yeah,
with
it's
Jenga.
with Jenga. I don't know if you've done drunk Jenga before. That's like pretty fun. Um,
Uh, I love Jenga, but I
yeah,
haven't seen that version.
you know, done drunk Jenga wherever it's like that. It's basically
Uh-uh.
just blocks. They're clear blocks, well not clear, but they have
Mm,
nothing on them, and then somebody will write stuff on them, and depending on the block you use, that's the thing you have to do. It's sort of
mhm.
like a dare type of thing. But drunk
Gotcha.
Jenga is like when you're basically your defenses are down, and
Mm.
or sometimes it means that you have to drink more. It all depends.
Oh, okay.
Depends on which one you grab. So it was supposed to be like kiss the person to your left, and Bear looks to his left, and it's Sarah, the one that
Mhm,
actually likes him, the one who actually has been
mhm.
kind of crushing on him. And Nikki is not having it at all. She's not having it
It's
at all.
so funny. The way that she does it is so again, it's so cringeworthy, just walking over behind her and moving the chair completely back while everybody quietly watches it happening, just moving Sarah completely out of the way, kneeling in front of Bear, puckering her lips. It's so awkward for everyone in the room. Ugh.
And then the bottle,
And then the bottle.
and then the broken
And that's
bottle.
where
That
now we're starting to we're getting into disturbed territory.
I would have literally, if I was somebody like there, I would actually call somebody and going,
Mhm,
one of my friends is seriously mentally ill. I think they're harming
mhm,
themselves right now. They are stabbing themselves in the face with a bottle.
mhm. Yeah, it's time for a commit.
Yes.
Yeah. Ugh.
Um, and then yeah, basically, she threatens to kill herself when they get home if it doesn't join her in bed. And in the middle of the night, um, apparently Sarah decides to text Bear
Yeah.
to meet for a meet.
She's
In the, yeah,
playing with fire there.
yes. And well, as Bear actually he decides to leave to meet up with Sarah, um,
Mhm,
Nikki, not the entity, Nikki starts speaking and claiming that her obsessive persona is asleep, and we start to more
mhm,
understand what's going on. It's like when her entity is asleep, that Nikki can peek through the veil, but
mhm.
it's really creepy because like um
Yeah.
uh Indy Navarrette does such a good job in here. Like her facial expressions in here, a lot of people are like comparing her to like Jim Carrey in a sense of like
Mm,
how he
yeah.
shifts her facial expressions, how she just um kind of like
How she moves.
jokerish type of like looks to
Mhm,
her, just that smile. Like she's been doing a lot of promotion lately for the movie, and she'll walk up to people and either do the frown like or the really
mm.
creepy smile with the eyes wide open and everything. And it's kind of, for people who've seen the movie, it creeps them out when she does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That frown is
Yeah.
super frowny. Like it is to the point of it.
It's
It looks like grumpy cat type of frown. I can't even
mm,
frown like that. That is a insane frown that she can do. But yeah, we start to understand that she is trapped within her own body. She is trapped in this like dimension where she can't get out, and um, and whenever she's awake, that's when the entity can really take over stuff. But yeah, we start to realize that, oh, maybe Bear is best person that we thought he was originally. At the beginning of the film, we think, he's this innocent introvert and everything.
Mhm.
And then we start to realize that Bear, he might be the bad guy. And then as the movie goes on, we start to realize that he's had several times where he could have helped her,
Mhm.
and she's screaming for help, and they like obvious type of thing, not just like I'm
Mhm.
just like whispering to you. So there's a situation in here where he's eating his lunch that Nikki packed for him for
Mhm.
work, and he opens it up, and it's remnants of his dead cat Sandy, and
Sandy sandwich.
Sandy Sam. That's horrible. And we see this picture that she packed in there, and basically it's just like it says, like I think it was not me or something like that, meaning that this
Mhm.
isn't me. It's like her subconscious basically wrote it down on the picture, going like, this is a picture of me, but this is not me. This is someone
Mhm.
else. She's trying to like tell him constantly throughout that, and then he kind of figures it out, but he's like, why wouldn't you want to be with me? It's like, dude, it's it's not her. And she's
Right.
acting really strange. She's acting also very like she's harming herself just to get you to like
Right.
her, just to fulfill your wish. She's willing to harm
Yeah.
herself. And now all of a sudden you're going from like, I want to, have a close and healthy relationship, to I want a very controlling relationship and I don't care if it hurts you.
Mhm. Well, and it kind of going back to what you said at the beginning, it shows, he at one point in the movie, he places a call to the hilarious customer service line and um basically he learns, there is an out to this. There
Yeah.
is an out. He's got to go. He made the wish. Once he dies, everything is reversed and everything's okay.
Or
And
it's either him or her. One of them has to go.
right, but it's here he sees what he has done. He knows that this is his fault. He sees the change in her. And if we couldn't maybe call him spineless at the beginning of the movie because in a certain way he's, every man, he's all of us that have at one point maybe been a little too nervous or um worried about, rejection to not speak up for himself. At this point now, he knows that he has to make some sort of a major play because he's done something extremely wrong. And now you can call him spineless because nobody wants to, have to take themselves out. But you basically did it to this poor girl who you supposedly loved
Yeah.
forever and realized what an amazing human being she was, and now won't do what needs to be done to fix it. You're gonna look for an out. You're
Yeah.
gonna look for another way.
I like how the employee on the phone sounds like one of those bored employees that picks up the phone and is just like, yeah, I don't really want to be here. It's like after hours, and
Mhm.
just like he's really bored. And then all of a sudden it's like, do you want to speak with her? And you're like, what do you mean want to
Mhm.
speak with her? And you just hear this like screaming, and then like this really haunting type of like, that's Nikki in the background like screaming for her life, and you're going,
Mhm.
have I been talking to a demon this whole time? And you're like, yes, you
Mhm.
have.
Do you know who that voice is?
um, isn't that the director, if I remember correctly?
It is.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
That's a fun
yeah,
fact.
yeah,
Yeah, it's so cool. I love it when people put themselves in their own movies. It's fantastic.
yeah. Even if they
Always
don't,
do
even
that.
even if it's just their voice,
Mhm.
it's kind of cool that
It's the perfect voice too, just like you said, it's, "Well, you only get one wish." It's
yeah.
just so,
He's
like,
like, how would you know?
"Really?
Because
You're calling with
I'm
this?"
directing the film. That's how I know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you read the directions, right?
But no, that last part is like, that's haunting. It's sort of like,
Mhm.
who have I really actually been talking to? I would be questioning him,
Right.
going like, are you a demon? Is this a whole
Mhm.
demonic situation that I have been dealing with this whole time? And it does, if the phone hung up, I'd be like, okay, it was.
I'd be
I
curious, like a lot of fantastic movies and albums and everything else. I didn't pay enough attention. I'm sure I could find a clip of it somewhere, but I'm wondering what happens if you call this 800 number.
oh, you can actually call it. It's a real number.
Have you called it?
I
Is
haven't
it
called it
like a
yet.
recording or
It's a
an
recording.
yeah.
But it's actually
Yeah.
really cool.
Okay.
I love when they do that too, because there are
Mhm.
some movies they'll put it in as sort of a little prop, and then just going like, if you call it, it's not a real number, it'll get you nowhere. But the ones that really, do really good
Mhm.
promotion for the film, will place like,
Yeah.
it's happened back in the old days. They used to do that, and they don't
Mhm.
do it often these days. And I think this director kind of got really nostalgic with it by actually giving you a number to actually call, and
It's amazing.
yeah.
I love
So
it.
so if you have the number, check it out. I forgot what the number is. I think it's online. You can find it. If you can't
Mhm.
actually see it on the box. A lot of people from TIFF actually got one or two of these as promotion and posters and a bunch of other promotional stuff. Um, Actually, I think you can go on eBay right now and find some One Wish Willows that people are selling that they got at TIFF. But yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, they're really cool. Just don't use them. Just don't use them. You never know. Just because they're a prop from the movie doesn't mean they might, you
Mm,
know might or might not work.
the
So
universe.
yeah, so Sarah basically hints that she's attracted to Bear, and
Mhm.
she also tells Bear that Ian and Nikki have kind of been casually hooking up for a couple years now. Um, and she expresses that concern that Nikki is using him to get back at Ian, not knowing exactly what's going on with this whole thing.
Right.
Um, anyway, poor
Yeah.
Sarah.
Poor Sarah.
Sarah in a
Sarah,
brick.
yeah.
Sarah in a brick.
Sarah and a brick. That was, well played to
That was
to
vicious.
not
That was vicious, like
yes,
kill.
vicious, but also to not take the brick and hit the face, but to take the face
And
and
hit
hit
the
the brick
brick.
was I mean, you're watching this kill and you're going like again, it's one of those jump scares when it happened because man, Nikki comes out of nowhere and this just starts happening and it jolts you. And then what you're watching is just so hard to comprehend, moving into terrible. Um, it's these few jump scares and kills in this movie are so well done in that it's not a brief second that you're like, oh, that happened, or it's not something long and drawn out that, dare I say, you kind of, you know the ends to the means, you know what how it's going to play out. Like a lot of our old slasher movie favorites. You see something, you're like, yep, they're getting cut right through the stomach. It's so multisensory the way that these kills happen in this movie and that they're not typical, so you have to kind of take a second and figure out what's going on after you've been sort of jump scared into it, and then just absolute visceral, kills that take a minute to, digest. Poor Sarah.
Poor Sarah. And
Poor Sarah.
then she, then Nikki basically, you know, instructs, a traumatized Bear to return home.
Mhm.
And Bear decides to go and buy the last remaining One Wish Willows and convince Ian that these things actually work. And of course, Ian's looking at
Mhm.
him like he's crazy. Like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, what? If I break one here, I can get all like $1 billion. And all of a sudden, he breaks one, and money rains from the sky.
Yeah.
The
Like
house
a
starts
ton
filling
of
up.
money.
Yeah, the house starts filling up with money, out of nowhere. Which I wonder what happens with
Mm.
that wish too. Like what happens? Well, maybe that what happens later on with Ian. Maybe that's the consequence of that
Yeah.
type of greed.
Can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you. You had it. Just think if he was stuck as a
Hmm.
ghost. He had the money, but you can't do anything with it.
Hmm.
So yeah, he returns home and finds a mutilated, Sarah, and finds out that Nikki has decided to strip her of her dress and wear it. You have this
Hmm.
like
You weirder.
bloodied, you know, Nikki. Yeah, even before that, like returning from work, like remember she basically like threw up on herself, or peed herself,
Yeah.
messed herself because she didn't want to move from that spot, just waiting for him
She's
to
a
return.
she's a mess. She's a hot mess.
Like
She's a mess.
disturbing mess to the point of like
Yeah.
it's some of the disturbing stuff in here is not always like the super bloody kills. It's just her and stuff that is happening to her, and just her reaction. Like there's this makeup they put on her, just that she's standing in the corner in the shadows, and it is like a demonic being this like shifted her
No.
face. It's kind of like what was it, The Exorcist type of thing, where her face
Mhm.
changes to the point of like, oh, is that CGI or is that makeup? We find out it's makeup, like if you watch behind the scenes,
Mhm.
but it is really good. Like you don't know if it's CGI or not, and this was done on a 750K budget, so yeah, they would have to use
Mhm.
makeup because it's very expensive to do that type
Yeah.
of like facial change and everything. But man, it's disturbing. Like you sit there in your seat going, I I'm uncomfortable. I'm seriously uncomfortable. And if you decided to bring your date to this movie, I'm sorry for you because your date's probably going to be mad at you at the end. Like, why did you? This is not a romantic movie.
At least questioning you, at least
Just
looking at
question.
you a little differently.
Yeah, what are you trying to say? Are you saying I'm obsessive? Is that what you're saying? um,
I thought we were having a good movie night.
Yes, I thought we were having a good
Raise his
date.
voice.
I thought we were having a good date. And you're like, oh no. And you just run out of the theater, just realizing that your date's the same. Um, but yeah, so yeah, after this happens, Barrett gets home, and Ian, is comes in, and uh, uh, Nikki's basically, at gunpoint, threatening to shoot him and herself, basically.
Mhm.
And poor Ian, he just like that was a quick shot too. Like that had just happened like that. Like she
Yeah.
she did like
Yeah.
she's a no look shot right to the head.
It's
It's like she's been playing. So, fun fact: Inde Navarrette is a Call of Duty player. She was a streamer
oh,
before
how funny.
this. So, and she actually
Mhm.
has old clips. People have been finding them online and posting them up of her playing Call of Duty, and she's actually a pretty good player.
Mhm.
So for her to do a no look shot, just like, you're a gamer. It's,
It's
um,
so funny because he walks in and he's like, "Hey, I think this wish thing actually pop." Which, if you think too much about it, it's like you didn't think that it worked when the $1 billion was falling from your ceiling. It
yeah,
it kind of makes you wonder how that whole scene ended before Bear went back home.
yeah,
Like, did he just get up and walk off and let Ian try and figure it out? But yeah, Ian Ian, easy come, easy go, man. He's taken out abruptly.
yeah. And then Bear decides to lock himself in the bathroom, and he knows what he
Yeah.
has to do. He was given an option. One of you has to die, either
Mm,
you or you know if you want to be selfish, Nikki has to die. Basically, you do the unselfish thing by killing yourself, or do the selfish thing by killing her. He decides to take the last of the oxycodone that was left there. What was it, by the grandma, I think, that the cat got
mhm,
into, um, and he consumes it. But then he does the That's why I say the spineless thing, and tries to puke it up.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, well, he even has that awful moment that, goes on for a minute or two where he's trying to figure out how he's gonna shoot himself, and then he's like, ops for the oxy."
Yep.
He's at his core, he is, this isn't rogue, take control guy. This is, um, everybody, right?
Well, this is what
Like
some
most
people.
of us.
This is what like Gen Z would call a soy boy. Um,
A soy boy.
he's he's not particularly a man, but like he will try to
Mhm,
weasel his way out of anything that would remotely considered responsibility,
mhm,
or a sense of responsibility, and he's not taking responsibility
mhm,
whatsoever in this point. Even to the
mm-mm,
point where he's trying to do the quote unquote right thing and kill himself. He can't even go through that. And right when he's trying to vomit it out, one of the remaining One Wish Willows is broken by Nikki, and she basically makes literally the same wish that he made, and it stops him from trying to vomit
mhm.
out. And
I loved this moment because the way that they did it, not, at first time viewing, he's tried to vomit up the oxy, and all of a sudden you just see him, like, he changes very much like she did when his willow snapped. Um, but, for a brief moment in time, I'm looking at him and I'm like, "Oh, that oxy is setting in. This guy is doped. He is do," but he's not. He's dopey in love, and when he walks out of that bathroom, you see that broken wish over there, and know, "Oh, yep, here we go."
yeah, and then we have um, basically they kiss, and because he never puked up the oxy, he ends up ODing and dying in her arms. And at that very moment, the wish that he wished for her is broken. Uh, and that scream
Mhm.
that she makes, like, I think Indy Navarrette might be the new scream queen currently. like the
Got her
like
all.
Oh man, that scream is haunting. And she does
Mm.
such a good job. She's never really done something like this before, and you would think she's been like training for a very long time, maybe multiple movies or TV shows that she's done. No, she hasn't. She's not a screamer.
Yeah.
But here it's like visceral. It's unnerving. It is something that is it's also heartbreaking too, because there's pain
Mhm.
in that scream.
Mhm.
And she sees all horrible things around her, dead people everywhere around her. Her friends are all gone, and she ends up heartbroken and about to shoot herself. Um, yeah, uh, but she regains control and everything, and as she comes to, and like I said, she screams hysterically, and you see, like, you hear sirens in the background,
Mhm.
and that's how the movie ends.
Fade
It
to black.
it,
You know,
it's a
I
mean
sat
ending. It's a very mean ending.
it is. It is. I sat in the theater and I'm like, "No, just wait." Like, "The lights are up." I'm like, "Just wait. They're not up all the way. There's more to this. Just wait." No, there was not. I sat through every credit.
Is there an
Nothing
after
else
credits?
came.
Please
That's
let there
all
be
you
after
get.
credits. Um, Now, we talked about it a little earlier that there was a different ending. There was a different ending. She does end up shooting herself and ending her misery and everything. And they
Mhm.
actually shot that scene. They recorded it. They
Oh, wow.
shot it. And then on the day that they decided to go for the other ending, they're like, "We're gonna change it up, all right? We're gonna leave her to like she's going to suffer the consequences of all this stuff, even though none of it was her fault." Um,
Mhm. I like it better. I like it better. We don't need another Romeo and Juliet.
yeah, and like, yeah, Romeo and Juliet, very good. Some reviewers are calling it like that. But
Mhm.
she's there is nothing that she can argue in court. Like, they're gonna look at her going like, "There are three bodies around you. Somebody was
Uh-huh.
shot. She has gun residue on her hand and under her fingernails. That's every time you shoot a gun,
Mhm.
there's gun residue that fires off. You can't really particularly see it, but if you put it under, and test it, and you can see she didn't wipe her hands when she killed Sarah. She has her blood on her. She was wearing her dress. Um, and here's another friend that looks like he's OD'd, but you know, all these things here. Also, there's like $1 billion at Ian's house.
Right, which is gonna make everybody go, "What?"
I know, but
Plus, all the you've got OD'd guy dead, and all of these witnesses who saw how crazy she was acting for, the lead up. Um, yeah, if our boy Bear would have been a little bit faster to man up, then, she could have used that last wish to get herself out of trouble, but,
yeah,
nope.
it's like she's going to the loony bin if anything, and she can't
Mhm.
explain anything. Even if she did, nobody would believe her.
Nope.
Which is kind of interesting because this universe is going to actually expand. Because they are making a kind of a spin-off type of film that will mention the When Wish Willow and might actually talk about in like the background, like a news story about the whole situation going on with like Nikki and everything. But it's not going to be like part of the main storyline. It's just going to be like a background thing. Like we're just telling you that it's in the same universe, and that's gonna
Nice.
yeah. So that's what Curry Barker is, going to be working on, which I thought was really interesting for him to even give us a little bit of tidbits of the next one of the next things he's going to be working on. Um, this movie is, before I give really my final thoughts, it was something I think that Hollywood has really needed, kind of like injection into the arm of something. It's not a quote unquote an original idea, but it is an idea that I think a lot of people wouldn't have put money in because it's a little too risky.
Mhm.
And for movies like Backrooms, which cost $10 million, and for this movie that costs under $1 million, you're looking at a combined budget of, for both movies, $11 million. That's basically what A24 and Blumhouse usually gives their directors. They give like 12-15 million dollars to their directors to make a movie.
Right.
And I thought Curry Barker, getting independent financing for this film and everything, and then ending up finding a distributor like Blumhouse and Focus Films or Features. That's huge when when you got like A24 and Blumhouse fighting over your film. you know, a-
Mhm.
and ending up being like currently it's at $242.7 million, and it did a thing that really a horror film hasn't done in years since like what was it Jaws. It has gone from the box office. It just kept going up every week that it came, like the first week,
Mhm.
second week, third week. It just kept going on an upward slope. You don't see that with most movies, let alone a horror independent film.
Yeah, this is it's hugely driven by word of mouth. These types of movies I feel like are going to continue the legacy of, going to the theater because this, like I said, it was a shared experience and it's going to be just as good if you watch it in your home with your friends or whatever. But man, it's a great movie. But I think it's all hype. Like I said, not a single trailer for this. And when you see every horror movie opening weekend, you see a lot of trailers for other horror movies. I didn't see a single trailer for this. None of the socials that I follow, you'll oftentimes get served up things that are within the genre that obviously have an affinity for. Nothing. This thing came out of nowhere. You told me about it after seeing it. My daughter saw it. She told me about it. And I feel like that's gotta be that growth mode that you're speaking about every weekend grabbing more and more. You hear about this I mean, we all hear about a lot of movies from our friends, right? But when you hear about, oh my gosh, this was so fantastic. It was, such a great telling of a unique story, and you've got to go see it. You're gonna go to the theater.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah,
it
yeah.
did something that also that a lot of movies have a hard time doing is it went against something like The Mandalorian and Grogu, and it beat it. It beat
Right.
it. And for an independent film going against nearly, what was it, $160 million film plus promotion, which I think has ended up being like $230 million. Um, you're going up against a movie that costs under $1 million and now is beating you at the box office, and people want to see that more than your established property. And I think that's one
Mhm.
of the problems. I think a lot of people are starting to wake up and realize that just because it is an established property or a sequel or a remake or anything like that doesn't make it great. The writing is the thing that makes it great. And when you don't have good
Mhm.
writing, if you don't have, a fantastic actor or actress like Inde Navarrete, which I'm hearing a lot of buzz that she could be in contention for awards for the upcoming award season, and that's huge for someone like in her
Mhm.
her position. She did this for like $20,000, uh,
Wow.
and she's going to get some money from it because Focus Films is going to they're getting the most money out of this, and they're going to kick it back as much as they can, back to the director and the creatives and actors that were involved in here. But she's setting herself up right now for being like, people are saying that she did such a good job of this film that
Mhm.
they're
She
talking
did.
about more like in horror or drama or anything else like that. um and just the way she acted in here, and it just made you feel uncomfortable with just how she moved, how she talked, and her, like I said, her facial expressions and everything. This movie just
Mhm.
broke so many, the quote unquote rules of Hollywood. Both this and, in my
Mhm.
opinion, like Backrooms, did something that hasn't happened in a while. Two independent films ended up becoming number one and number two at the box office
Mhm.
and making a crap load of money. In fact, this is Focus Films and Blumhouse's like um, highest profit they've ever had of a film, because they're
Oh, that's
looking at
fantastic.
they're looking at it at the end of the run being around, but maybe $300 million. That's 300%
Mhm. Yeah,
of gross, profit. That's
it's a
nuts.
fantastic return.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's more than even I would even say Paranormal Activity or Blair Witch. I think Blair Witch was the closest one you could get to for
Mhm.
because it cost someone similar to this, uh, but it's making more than Blair Witch. So uh, yeah, that's insane. Because somebody
It's
like was telling me like, no, Blair Witch did it first. And I'm like, I know it did, but but right now Obsession is beating Blair Witch. So
Yeah. I read here in some of these reviews about how much it's made to date. It's saying that it's beating the ET trajectory, which was Steven Spielberg's obvious, classic, where its second and third weekends are, continuing to climb. And then that fourth weekend record that's your Blair Witch Project. It's yeah, this thing is it's it's going nuts. I mean, they certainly didn't spend the money on marketing, and I appreciate it. But what a breakout! What an absolute breakout!
oh yeah, definitely. And especially for the director here, 26-year-old Curry Barker. He, I guess, because they have a lot of faith in him after the scene Obsession, they've given him the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. So
Okay, nice.
we'll see what he does with that, because that's an established property already, and a lot of people have put their hand in the bowl to try to give us new visions of Texas Chainsaw Massacre throughout the years.
Mhm.
So let's see how somebody that's not quote unquote Hollywood. He's a
Right.
YouTuber. He comes from, the Gen Z generation that grew up, but he's a very creative person. Like he seems to
Mhm.
understand, you know, you give me a certain budget, I will do everything I can with it instead of just like
Yeah.
wasting it and giving us like crap. Giving it,
Mhm.
so I'm looking forward to seeing any of his future projects because
Yeah.
and
Same.
both him and the director of Backrooms, he just, I think he is turning 21 soon, so he'll be legally able to drink soon. Out all those parties, he was unable to actually legally drink,
It's amazing.
because he was only 20. Um, but yeah, getting these young directors like this coming out and outdoing people like and out doing movies, major franchise movies
Yeah.
at the box
Mhm.
office is insane. And uh,
Yeah.
definitely, we'll get into the ratings in a second. You definitely need to go out and see this and really support it. They push back the digital release because they see dollar signs and they want it to make as
Mhm.
much money in the box office they can before it goes to streaming.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we talked a little bit about that. Well, a little bit, a lot. Let's get into our final thoughts before we end our review and discussion of
Mhm.
Obsession.
Yeah. Absolutely. You want me to take it?
Yeah, you take it. I'll finish it off.
Okay. Well, I am going to, pull a classic card that I do where I give a rating with an asterisk here. But this movie, I'm so appreciative of you and my daughter for telling me about this movie and with such enthusiasm because I'm so happy that I went out and saw it. I have a little theater here locally where I live that usually runs one horror movie every time that they put out their new releases, and I don't get everything. I got Backrooms, and I wonder how distribution, across additional theaters is going to happen or occur if there's going to be, additional theaters picking this up because about this time, traditionally, theaters are closing these movies out, right? Um, had it not been for word of mouth, I wouldn't have heard about it. I probably would have picked it up, at some point when it came out streaming and been blown away by it. And that's, I think, what used to happen. I think we're looking at a complete pivot and change where we, fully get back into the theater for movies like this. Um, so my overall rating on this is a 9, and I know that that's a big rating, and I asterisk it because ask me in a couple of years and I might make it a 10. Um, it's so good in that I was not bored during this movie once. It moves so quickly. The range of emotions that you feel watching this movie run the gamut. You mentioned the makeup piece earlier when you were talking about the effects that were used. And that scene alone, I started laughing when you were talking about it because it was coming back into my mind where just another strange moment, she's watching him sleep and he's like, "Come back to bed." She's like, "No." And she's so creepy and odd. It's funny, but unsettling for sure. Um, the kill scenes are, most of them, except for quick shots, are um, graphic. There's a lot of moments that are, just this side of stomach turning if you're, not capable of watching someone eat a cat. Um, it's it's just such an absolute roller coaster, but at the same time, it's telling a pretty, you know, succinct, concise, tale as old as time story. So to do that with something that, to make something so incredibly original that really has been, done a number of times, even on The Simpsons, as you mentioned. Um, I just think that this is the type of story that I don't know if everybody this is the type of story I wish that I could write because it just is so compelling. And I think, leave it to storytellers on platforms that are bite-sized and viral to know what captures current audiences, and really draws them in and really gets them excited. Um, I'm I'm thrilled at the coming of age of what will be our new uh, directors and writers, and the stories they will tell. Um, this movie is so fantastic. What is it, like an hour and 40 minutes, somewhere in there? It's not a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
movie.
109
Um,
minutes.
it felt like it felt so fast. Um, I wanted more, as I mentioned. I sat there in my seat, just bound and determined, willing one more scene to come on. Um, Absolutely would tune in for what you suggested as this, wishing Willow, One Wish Willow universe. And I hope that they do it in that method. I hope they don't return specifically to this and do another wish. I really loved the movie Smile, which has some correlation to this, at least by facial expression. Smile 2 was a great movie, didn't need to be made. I really loved, I'm gonna get some hate. I really loved Black Phone. Black Phone 2 was good. It didn't need to be made. Sometimes I feel like just letting these instant classics breathe is so important. Um, and this is definitely one of those. You've got to go see it. Um, I will definitely be watching this again when it goes to streaming. I don't know if it's one that I'll be watching every single year, but it's definitely one I'm going to pick up every couple of years. The acting is just that compelling. Um, I believe this was co-written with Curry Barker's father, which I find extremely endearing. Um, Curry is a fantastic name. That's all I'll say about that. And the other thing that I wanted to call out is you talked a lot about well, we've talked a lot about Indy's performance. That was You're sharing that with me was what got me into the theater to see this movie. Um, I also want to call out that she said the inspiration for her was Tony Collette and Mia Goth
Oh yeah,
and
she's huge
the
fans.
amazing yes, thank you for honoring some.
Heredity is just like,
Yes,
oh.
yeah, and Pearl, I mean, how many times have we seen Mia Goth with that face, the
Pearl or
in a meme?
Maxine, yeah,
Yeah, just fantastic, women that truly, truly give it all, in this genre that, 20, 30 years ago, you hoped you were a final girl, and that was about it. That was the best you were gonna get, and even then, people might not know your name.
yeah,
Um, this is the next genre, the next generation of genre filmmakers and the next generation of actors, and super excited to see it. So yeah, 9 star,
9 out of 10.
9 asterisk, 9 asterisk. Call me next year. How about you?
This film surprised me. Now, I heard a bunch of things coming out of TIFF in the first place. A lot of people talking about this film, especially out of um, South by Southwest. People were raving about this film, and I was like, people rave about independent films all the time, and sometimes they don't always live up to the hype when they get to the theater. Maybe because the studio decided to do some editing and re-editing and try to be more, you know, theatrically friendly. And that doesn't always turn out well. Sometimes that's
Mm-mm.
actually a detriment to the original film. Do you know that The Thing, the prequel to The Thing, so they actually came out with a prequel to The Thing, um, that it originally had practical effects in that movie, but the studio decided to come in later and go, you need to make all this stuff into CGI. The same thing happened with the Wolfman, with Benicio del Toro. It was originally shot,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly, it was originally shot with practical effects, and they were kind of forced by the studio to come in and replace it with CGI. Now, I'm not against CGI blood or CGI,
Yes, you
gore.
are.
Not really. If it's done
You
right,
are so against
if it's done
CGI.
right, if it's
Mm-mm,
not done in
no
like
way.
clear lighting and everything, and if it's dark, it works. But in this sense, like there were like parts where there were guts and the creature effects and everything.
Hmm.
The switch from practical effects, so they used in the original thing with Kurt Russell, to CGI, and it's kind of like going backwards in a sense, because
It
the
is.
the movie was a prequel to it happens right before the events of the original thing, and it leads
Hmm.
into that movie at the very end. I don't know if you've seen that movie,
It
or if
it
you've seen
just
it.
goes back. It goes right back to, that notion of Hollywood, movies coming out for the last 20, 30 years. Not all of them, but this like big Hollywood, is that a thing? Big Hollywood, um, thinking it knows what people want. And, making fantastical effects. Absolutely, people wanted that in a big way with a lot of, the Marvel and DC and action movies, but this is not a genre where we want that for the most part. I mean, there's some great CGI stuff that's happened in horror movies, but by and large, people want it to feel real. And I will ask our viewers to go back and watch all of the reviews, and then I'm going to start a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe where we're going to put together the money. I could just do it myself. But to buy you a shirt that says, I hate CGI blood, because you mention your deep disdain for CGI blood in, I would say, one of every three reviews that we do. So, and I agree with you. I think you're 100% right. I don't know that I ever honestly paid as much attention to it until working with you on these reviews, and now I personally can't stand it either. It comes at you like cartoon, and it's just not good. So I stand by you in solidarity.
Yeah, and I think if you limit some of these directors with their budget, instead of giving them these extremely expanded to the ridiculous point of like, we're gonna give you like $150 million to play with and everything like that. Um, unless the director's very responsible with their budget, they're just going to splurge, and not splurge
Mhm.
in a good way. The story will suffer. I like how, like I said, I like what A24 and Blumhouse do with a lot of their directors. They give them a limited budget of under $20 million and say that's all
Mhm.
you get. Do what you
Go make
will
some
with
money.
it. Make us money, but that's all you get. And if you want more, you're not going to get any more, because
Mhm.
you're gonna have to work with what you have. And with a film like this, and another reason I brought up like bad CGI and everything and stuff like this, is because in here the studio really wasn't involved, because it was like an independent film, and so
Mhm.
you get what you get. It's the
Right.
director had a clear vision on what he wanted, and he executed it. And the only the studios that came in basically vying for this film to distribute it, they took it really as it was, and because everyone loved it, they loved what they were doing
Mhm.
here. They loved the vision. We need directors with that type of like um, that type of vision, that's not afraid to put out movies like this that might get even an NC-17 rating, because
Mhm.
it's too overboard, with stuff like this. Now, this is an R-rated film. It stayed in that area of R rated, but it could have gone pretty far out. I mean, the story definitely could have gone even darker than what we got here.
Mhm.
And uh, the actress that they got here, Inde Navarrette, she is a star. She is. I'm not gonna put money down, but people are already putting her up for awards for the next award season,
Mhm.
like for Golden Globes, for Emmys, for you know, maybe even Oscars. Some people are saying, maybe she should get nominated for Best Actress for the Oscars coming up next year. Uh, it is an incredible performance. It is a memorable performance, and it is a disturbing performance.
Mhm.
Everybody in here, their career is going to change. Everybody from like, of course, the director, who basically this is his first major theatrical film, to like, Michael
Andy Richter.
Johnston and Cooper Tomlinson and Megan Lawless. They already have things they're going to be doing pretty soon. Andy Richter, hopefully he can step out of the shadows of Conan O'Brien. Um,
Doesn't
uh,
even look like Andy Richter.
No, no. But yeah, we definitely are given like it's a gift to have these type of films come up like back to back. We have this film session, and then we had Backrooms, and we were given these type of films that weren't given a huge budget, but we have directors that are passionate about what they do, and even though they don't have as much experience as some major directors out there, they are, in my opinion, they're the future of where we're going with, hopefully, with Hollywood when it comes to good story writing. I hope they don't go off the rail and you go like and fall for, well, we need the studio knows better, because most of the time the studio doesn't know any better. They want to make money, and they don't care if it's a bad story or or anything else like that, or they change things because they feel like, oh well, I could have done something differently. Like, you're not a director, you're just a studio head, and you don't know what you're
That's why we
doing.
get so many bad sequels,
Yes.
honestly.
Or we just get badly edited films because like you
Mhm.
watch those director cuts and you're like, this is a better movie than the theatrical cut. What happened? And it's like the studio. And you find out that
Mhm.
some
The
big, well,
studio
you find
happened.
out like
Big Hollywood.
these big name directors had like wars with their own studios to try to get their vision out there, and a lot of times they lose, and when it
Right.
comes out they get the blame for it because they're like, this is what you directed, and like, no, this is not my original direction. And then hopefully years later they'll hopefully release a director's cut to show, this is what I really wanted to show you, I didn't get to show you
Mhm.
this. But I'm glad that you have these type of independent directors that are given free reign and to show their vision.
Mhm.
And Curry Barker definitely has a really promising future. His next film he's going to come out with is called Anything But Ghosts. It takes place in the same universe as this film, and I want to see what. There's not much in the way of what it's really about, but if it goes by the title, Anything
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Ghosts, maybe that has something to do with something about ghosts. Who knows?
You think?
It could
What's
have.
the release for that scheduled as? Is
Let's.
there any?
Yeah, hold on a second. I think it's in post production. So,
Okay, great.
let's see. Anything but ghosts. What's this? Release. I don't think it has a release yet, but I bet it's in. He got a budget of $5 million this time, so he got five
Wow.
times more
Yeah.
than and this is also another focus feature film by Blumhouse because they want to keep it in the family, especially if
Mhm.
it's going to be. Apparently, this one has Aaron Paul, Cooper Tomlinson returns. Um, Curry Barker's in here as well. We got
Nice.
Bryce Dallas Howard, Violet McGraw, and Chris Reinecker, I believe that's how they say his name. But yeah,
Hmm.
so it's in post production right now. Oh yeah, here's the premise: two fake paranormal investigators must face actual ghosts while dealing with the deception of their own fraudulent business.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I
So
hope that they're very I hope that the ghost hunters are very overtly masculine with super tight black shirts with lots of crosses on them. and go and do lock-ins. That's what I'm hoping for. I think that would be fantastic.
I
More
don't know.
hate mail.
I don't know because there's Aaron Paul in there, so who knows? Anybody watch Breaking Bad? Anybody? Nobody? Maybe?
I love Breaking Bad.
Yes, I love Aaron Paul. Anyway, so yeah, that's one of his next projects that he's coming out with right before he starts filming the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot, and
Very
I'm
nice.
looking forward to seeing what he has. Um, all
Yeah.
in all, this film is definitely definitely a must see. It is. Uh,
Hmm.
I, I'm actually gonna give it a higher rating than you. I'm gonna give this a 10. This is the type of film um that actually disturbs me and actually like
Hmm.
it is not like yes there are supernatural elements in this film, but the way they do it in here is just so unnerving. They don't use a lot in the way of um what you typically consider in a horror film. uh
Hmm.
the like I said before when we are going through the review, the really horror parts in here are the parts that make you cringe, that make you squirm in your
Right.
seat, the parts that make you remember situations that you've been in before with other people. Maybe in other
Hmm.
relationships before that they're so toxic that you had to get out of them. Otherwise, you might kill each other or something else.
Hmm.
It's sort of like, oh, and I think that's what resonates with so many people with this film is that it's too real. It's too
Right.
real. And then also
Yeah.
you get like a really good storyline where originally label somebody as this innocent, bystander, and we find out that no, he's the real bad guy in the end. He's making two people suffer. He's making the entity suffer. He's making Nikki suffer. The entity, there's a scene in here where the entity is crying to him and saying, "I'll be whatever you want me to be." And she's
Hmm.
on her knees. The entity is on her knees, crying and covered in blood and everything. It's like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll be your freaky Nikki. And he's like, I will just want you to be Nikki, and she can't because she isn't Nikki.
Hmm.
But the entity
Right.
is trying to abide by the wish. So the entity is actually suffering. He's making the entity suffer, which is a really interesting concept because like at the beginning you're like, this entity is the bad guy, and like, no, the entity is only doing what the wish is forcing it to do. And
Hmm.
it puts it in a whole different perspective of realizing that this entity has to abide by that wish, and if it doesn't, it's kind of like it's being tortured. It's literally
Right.
being tortured as much as Nikki's being tortured, the entity's being tortured too. So this film has so many layers in it, and because of that, I give it a high 10. And I don't usually give horror films that a 10 very often. I think what I
Hmm.
gave Frankenstein a 10, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
This is
Hmm.
this and what was it? I think I gave Shaun of the Dead a
Sinners.
10.
I
Um,
gave Sinners and Shaun of the Dead a 10, I think. So it's up there.
yeah, it is an incredible film. Definitely go out to see it. It is still in theaters. It's not going to be released. I think it got pushed back a month or more from digital release because a lot of films that are still in theater have a digital release right now, and they're being pushed
Hmm.
back so that it can make more money, and it
It'll be
deserves it.
interesting to see. Yeah, we had such a great showing at, award season this year. And I don't know, just gonna keep with the big Hollywood. Um, I find it's very difficult to get a run on that no matter how good the movies are. I feel like, we're gonna be made as a genre to go sit in the corner for a couple of years before they, give out awards again. It just seems to always be the case. But I feel like filmmaking is changing, and it's a different group of people that are in charge now. And who knows? Maybe it'll buck the trend. Maybe these amazing films will get their accolades that they deserve come early 2027.
Oh yeah, definitely. Listen up, Hollywood. We want original ideas. We don't want to constantly be fed sequels, remakes, reboots. Um, you know,
CGI blood.
If you
We
have
don't want it.
if you have the squibs, use the squibs. We love squibs, okay? Um but no, give us some good story. That's a thing that really
Mhm.
makes people want to come back to a movie, is because they remember how good the story is. They remember how good the characters are. If you just give us slop, we're not going to come back. It may be something familiar, but we're like, we've seen it over and over again. We want something new, or we
Right.
want something original. And having these two movies come out, back to back, Backrooms and Obsession, I think hopefully Hollywood realize we're making money, and we also, people want to see these stories. People want to see
Right.
fresh faces and new ideas and new directors coming into the fold. So yeah, definitely go see this. I can't recommend anything higher than a 10. And yeah, there you go. I could go on forever about this. There's so many different things you could talk about, even the psychology about this, because it's
Mm.
insane.
Oh, yeah.
And this would end up being like a 3-hour podcast, and we can't have that.
It's already a long one for sure, but well worth it. I
Oh
feel the
yeah.
same way.
All right. Well, so that's it. You get a 9. I gave it a 10. You give a 9 with an asterisk.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
yeah, that is our review and a discussion for Obsession from 2025 leading into 2026. Thank you, LC, for joining me. You're a little out of focus a little
I
bit.
know.
You could do that. You
I'm
could
fading.
move it in a little bit, camera.
Mm.
Maybe if you.
Hey, no, I think it's the lighting. I choose to do these in an office that has a window, and I kind of try and play around with the lighting, but I'm gone now. So
You were clear a
I'm
little
I'm
bit.
but a
You're clear for a little bit. You're close to it. I think it's also the picture. I
I'm
think it's the camera trying to like
mhm,
adjust itself to the moving pictures
mhm,
behind you. So, or the video behind you. But
Marty
yeah,
McFlying over here.
Marty McFly. Yes. Thank you,
Mhm.
LC, for joining me. Definitely go check out her socials. Go give your socials.
LCLDCD. The C is for curry.
Exactly. And go check out all my socials. Everything basically Good Nerd Corner. And thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everyone for listening. Be careful what you wish for, and remember to enjoy your chimichanga.